Minneapolis, Baltimore, Philly, Montgomery, San Fran, New York, Chicago. It's just that deep, 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 deep. It's just that deep, 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 deep. It's just that deep, 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 deep. It's just that.
So the Polyheme trials essentially wanted to see if they can give fake blood instead of IV fluids. So imagine getting shot in the field or getting in a really bad car accident. You can't talk and EMS comes by and wants to pick you up and take you to the hospital. But your blood pressure may be low, right? You do have to get some type of IV fluid to kind of keep you alive until you get to the hospital. So EMS can decide if they can give you fake blood or IV fluids that we usually always get. If you do end up getting fake blood by EMS, they make that decision. No family member is there to make that decision for you. You're not able to make that decision because you're critically ill. You'll continue with that fake blood in the hospital for 12 hours. If they do give you the regular fluid that they always give, once you get to the hospital, they'll start to give you the real blood in case you need it.
So how did this even happen? How is it that you can give fake blood products or fluids to a patient that is not able to consent? Well, it went through a process and was approved by the government agency that approves research trials. And the 32 hospital centers that were used for these trials were supposed to do outreach to the community and provide information on different platforms to the community. So if you were at a baseball game, if you went to church, if you were at the movie theater, you might have gotten some information about it. But would you actually know that that's what you were being told and why it was important to listen to it? Probably not. Because how many of us listen to things that are yelled at us as we walk by a booth on the table? Not a lot, right? So it was done in 19 states at 32 major hospitals with the major trauma centers so they can get a large pool of people to test this on. Essentially be the guinea pigs for the study. And for the patients, people who were in a major trauma, so bad car accident, you're bleeding everywhere, you're shot, you're stabbed, something, and you need some kind of fluid to keep your blood pressure up, then you aren't able to consent. You might be unconscious. You might not, but what we would call not consentable. And so the EMS workers would make that decision for you. Unless you had a colorful bracelet that you got from one of these events where you listened to somebody tell you something that you cared 0% about.
So you would think that the Polyheme trials happened a really long time ago. And it did, right? It started so long ago, in 1996. Right, 1996. From 1996 to 2006, EMS was the one that made a decision on whether if you were sick and couldn't make a decision for yourself, if you would be getting fake blood or IV fluids. And they did this for 10 years until they found enough people that they can test this on. They can test this fake blood on. For 10 years, 1996 to 2006, the government agencies that help decide whether research projects can continue or not decided that it was okay for someone else to make a decision about your body if you couldn't make a decision for yourself.
Okay, so it went bad in the cities. Somebody stood up and advocated for the population that they're supposed to, right? So mayors advocated against this.
Sure.
Now, this sounds really bad for a community. Let's assume that it's communities who are more underserved, who aren't as knowledgeable in health literacy, right?
So imagine getting shot and you heard, let's say you even heard about this study, because remember they shut it down.
Right.
You don't know that this happened. Imagine getting shot and you heard about this study. You decide to stay at home because you don't want to get fake blood.
That sounds like you might not trust.
Why would I?
Okay.
I called 911 to save my life,
Yeah.
and y'all want to test some stuff on me to see if it works?
I mean, that's real hard. It's a hard argument to say call 911 to go to the hospital.
Wouldn't. Why would I? I got in a car accident. I already don't want to call the police because who knows what's going to happen when they get on scene. And now to say that I'm going to wait for EMS to take me to the hospital
and do something that could give you a heart attack.
Possibly give me fake blood.
I mean, you know, we know there's studies like this that have happened over generations. We know very well.
Recent
Tuskegee
generations.
Yeah.
Like in our lifetime, like this
Right.
this has happened recently. And why do you think people don't trust the COVID vaccine? Because someone tried to put fake blood in my body. So now this vaccine. How can we tell people to trust us if we're giving them fake blood in the streets?
Doing things against their will?
Literally in the streets.
Literally.
But we told them that we told you about this. We told you about the risk with this. We gave you a bracelet. Where's your bracelet? You said you wanted to do it, right? Because you weren't wearing a bracelet. I wouldn't even want to go and drive anymore. Because if I got in a car accident and I called 911 and they decided to give me fake blood, and they didn't call my family either. They didn't call anyone's family to say, oh, can they get the fake blood? Did they talk to you about the fake blood thing? Do you want to see if fake blood will help save their lives?
But this is emergent consent, right? Where it's not even possible to call.
No. So why would I trust calling 911? I don't trust the police. These doctors are lying to me, right? Maybe. EMS, I can't trust them either.
Not now.
How could I? How could we?
So who can you trust? Or how do you know when you can trust? Like what? There has to be a balance between this, right? Like there's not just full mistrust and everybody's a guinea pig. But it does make it hard. It sets a lot of roadblocks and barriers into that ability to even come and say, I don't feel well. Can you help me?
And imagine that multiple people were involved in this study where people could get fake blood or IV fluids. Researchers, doctors, nurses, EMS, this government group that decides what research can and cannot happen. They all said that this was okay. Those 19 states and those 32 hospital systems said, sure, try it on our patients.
Hey, go. Let me hold $100. How you doing?
Hi, Uncle. How are you?
Fine. Let me hold $100.
Nah.
I'll pay you back.
Nah, we did this last week, Uncle. We did this last week, and did you pay me back yet? Did you pay me back yet?
Medical mistrust. It's like that uncle that we all have. You know, let's call him Sam. That asks for certain things, but some of us still don't trust.